Hello, beautiful people. With the River Hunt update, we now have an E.B.R for the masses. This French pain in the butt says a better rating 4.3. Hope you enjoy. In War Thunder, we already have two variants of the E.B.R, and they both have premium status. The first we got in the winter event, that E.B.R started out at better rating 4.3, but it kept getting its BR increased, and now it's a better rating 6.0, where it had lost a big chunk of its former Thunder. The second E.B.R was from an earlier battle pass, and that vehicle is sitting at better rating 7.0. But now we have an E.B.R for the masses in the regular French tech tree. Very brief about the differences between the variants. They all have the identical chassis, crew, armor and engine. All the differences are found in the turrets and armaments. Let's take a look at the People's E.B.R. Some of the pros. Performance. The E.B.R is a very fast vehicle with a top speed of 105 km an hour. The vehicle has two drivers placed front and rear in the hull of the vehicle, and the transmission makes it possible for it to drive pretty much just as fast backwards as forward. The front and rear set of wheels can turn incredibly sharp. The E.B.R is probably one of the wheeled vehicles with the tightest turn radius in War Thunder. Combine that with the speed, and in the E.B.R you have a very mobile vehicle. The chassis sits very low towards the ground, and that makes the E.B.R very easy to hide behind objects and in terrain. Gun. The caliber of the gun is 75mm, which has access to armor piercing high explosive and smoke shells. You start out with a not too good solid shot, and I suggest that you quickly start to research the armor piercing high explosive shell. That shell has great armor pin and it's full of high explosive goodness. To put the performance of the gun in perspective, the armor piercing high explosive shell has the same armor pin as the regular 75mm shell used on the Sherman M4 tank. So the capabilities of the gun is nothing special, but it gets the job done. The gun depression is good with -8 degrees, but because of the turret design, you can only elevate 15 degrees, and that is not a lot. Smoke grenades. The E.B.R has 4 smoke grenades, and all of them are being used for a single large smoke screen. Light tank. The vehicle is considered a light tank, and with that label comes the scouting ability and the ability to repair other friendly units. And some of the cons. Armor. The E.B.R is lightly armored as most light tanks are. The hull has a maximum of 20mm on the front and rear and 15 on the side. The front of the turret has 40mm of armor and just 20mm everywhere else. The vehicle is very vulnerable to attacks from above. Some armor placed around the turret are as thin as 4mm, so even light machine gun rounds can penetrate that area. Others range from 10mm on the top of the turret to 20mm protecting the front and rear top of the vehicle. Wheeled. It being wheeled brings the usual issues with low speeds in snow, sand, mud and water. It also prevents the E.B.R to go places a fully tracked vehicle could go, unless you try to overcome it with speed. Muzzle velocity. The gun, like the Sherman, has pretty low muzzle velocity with just over 600 meters a second, and that fact combined with the next con can be problematic. Optics. So this is for me both a pro and con, but mostly I tend to perceive it as a con because of the powerful zoom, but I will come back to that in a bit. The first positive aspect of the E.B.R is of course its speed. It's perfect to get out to a flanking position fast, or to just rush straight ahead and cap a point. I do however always see what kind of teammates spawn behind me in case I should wait with capping until they have caught up. But on some maps, like the Fields of Normandy, because of the distance, an early cap can be very useful. But if you think the resistance is too much for you to deal with, pop smoke and fight another time.
The Allied forces have captured a zone. Allied forces have captured a zone.
The 75mm gun works okay, but at 4.3 and the unavoidable constant objects, it does start to suffer. It forces you to wait with shooting until you have a good angle on the enemy vehicle, and that means the size of hulls and turrets, and up their rear of course, where any cannon should go anyhow.
Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Nudge, nudge, know what I mean? Say no more.
So the optics of the gun is quite powerful, more powerful than the commander's binos. I do understand that this is meant to be a scouting vehicle and that it should be used at range, but because of the map designs you mostly find yourself at shorter ranges where a powerful zoom is not working too well. Furthermore, the muzzle velocity of the shells are pretty low, just over 600 meters a second, and when you do not use the rangefinder and just shoot, you mostly end up falling short because of the powerful zoom can trick you into thinking that the target is much closer than it is in reality. Well, game reality. Also, because of the low muzzle velocity, it seems as if you're shooting artillery over longer distances. You can easily see the targets with the optics, but the gun's performance is less than stellar over longer ranges. One of the things on the E.B.R that has not been modeled are the 4 middle road wheels' ability to grip the terrain more, especially on surfaces like sand and mud. It should be somewhat better on those surfaces than other regular wheel vehicles, but the E.B.R behaves exactly like any other wheel vehicles, namely awful. Another thing that slowly has started to annoy me with the E.B.R is where the turret is located on the vehicle. On most armored vehicles the turret is located forward on the hull, but by design and how the two drivers are located, the turret sits smack in the middle of the hull. On urban maps it has caused me some trouble and deaths, because you can't just sneak your barrel around the corner without exposing half of your vehicle. The enemy sees you long before you even get the gunner's optics trained on him because of it. Sometimes it's better to hug the walls on buildings and just sit in the open, but in the shadows, and hope that you're not spotted instead.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
I'm very happy that the E.B.R is not this exclusive creature anymore, and everybody playing the French tech tree can try it out. Thank you for watching, and until next time, remember to deploy your die brakes. Have a good one.